What's happening, Captain? What's new, kangaroos? It's your dandy, Candy, and welcome to the first episode of What the Fuck Was I Thinking, where we're going to go into the artwork that we've made, paintings, sculptures, things of that nature, and kind of explain what we were going with when we made that thing, what it came out being, what it represents, the interpretation of that art piece. Now, fair warning, a lot of the pieces we're going to be talking about today are not going to be happy fun time pieces. They're going to be kind of existential, uh, kind of sad, a little depressing, mostly just focusing on a psyche and the way that we experience life and the things that we see. So it's not always sunshine and rainbows. And that being said, let's go ahead and get started. If you didn't notice, I am standing right in front of this piece right here. And that's the first piece that we're going to be talking about today. I don't actually have an actual name for this piece. I showed it on the Facebook where we had that issue with the AI saying I was somebody else entirely. And they gave it the title Narcissistic Love, which I feel is a very appropriate title for it because it does kind of deal with that in a lot of ways. But it's not all entirely about narcissism. I've grown up with narcissistic parents and a narcissistic sister. I've had a lot of narcissists in my life, still do to this day. And it's made life very difficult. Myself personally, I've been accused of being a narcissist a few times, but I don't know. Usually narcissists are full of themselves, and I usually am not full of myself. I'm actually not my biggest fan at all. What I do have, though, is BPD, which is borderline personality disorder. It comes from a lot of childhood trauma, a lot of abuse, both physical and emotional manipulation. I'm not going to say it out loud, but you can guess what I'm hinting at of the other abuse there. And it's made it very difficult for me as a person to trust people, to let people in. So usually I don't. This piece represents me in a lot of ways, trying to process emotions and feelings about people. The teddy bear represents me. It's actually based on a teddy bear that I have because I do collect stuffed animals as well. And as you can see from the piece, it's a very worn down, frumpy looking teddy bear. It has seen its better days. It's a little beat up quite a bit. And it's trying to hold on to this heart that's just covered in spikes. Now, you can take that multiple ways. The way I look at it is I've always had a difficult time whenever it comes to a lot of things because of my BPD, whether that's holding down a steady job or keeping friendships, especially in the romantic department. And it's not just because of the BPD, it's also because, how do I say this without saying it out loud? I've got what you would call cat software, dog hardware. That makes sense? I'm sure some folks get what I'm getting at there. So I'm never really the person that I need to be in a relationship with somebody, whether it's with a man or a woman. And it makes things very difficult for me to trust people, let alone trust myself, because it's very difficult for me. So I don't even try anymore, to be honest with you, because frankly, I've been hurt way too many times, and it makes it difficult for me to trust people in that regard. So the heart is something I want. It's not that I don't want to be happy and in love just like everybody else is. It's just hard for me to do that. Very difficult for me to do that. And so trying to hold on to that heart, even though you know it's going to hurt you, is why it has those spikes on it. I'm probably doing a terrible job of explaining that, but essentially it's this conflict of wanting to be loved, but also being scared of being loved because you've been hurt too many times before. The pattern of the background, it's multi-toned. What do you call that? Umbra. The umbra tone of the background is actually intentional. It's purple, going into green, going into brown. Those are the colors of bruises, also symbolizing the hurt. When you have BPD, one of the biggest things that you worry about the most is being abandoned. And unfortunately, that makes you kind of come across like a narcissist in a lot of ways because you get super clingy to people. You get favorite persons. I've had several favorite persons in the past in my life, even recently. And it gets to a point where you realize that you're not their favorite person. And you're probably actually bothering them more than anything else. whether that's just from conversations getting shorter to you being the only one engaging in those conversations in the first place, and letting go of someone only for them to then all of a sudden notice your absence. Things like that make it very difficult to trust people, whether it's just friendships or love. And yeah, so that's what this piece represents. It's kind of sad, kind of depressing, but it's very much the stem of who I am as a person. I want to love, I want to be loved, I want to have that life everybody else has, but it's very difficult for me just to even get out the door and trust someone. So that's what this piece is about. Moving on to our next piece, shall we? Oh yeah, we're moving the camera around. Now these 4 pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4, that you see right here are actually connected to each other. They tell a story of the events of last year, in particular, with me and my mom's. The first one that you see on here is going to be this one right here. I don't remember the names of half of these things, but that one right there represents the day that my mom had her first accident back in January of last year. And I remember it being one of those things where I was at work. My mom has said that she was going out to meet with some friends. And again, I'm not divulging all this information for anything other than just to explain the piece. I don't want to air dirty laundry that ain't mine to air. But it's just to explain the setting of these pieces. I was at work at my day job at the time, and my mom had decided she was going to go visit some friends. She had just retired like a year, like back in August. So I was really excited for her to be going out and meeting people because she'd mostly just been sitting around the house. And didn't hear a single thing from her all day. Not a single thing. She said she was going out to lunch, couldn't find it. Okay, cool. I get home around 10 o'clock. She still ain't home. And it wasn't until later on that I found out she had flipped her car over. She got lost driving around, ended up in the desert, and flipped her car over and was in a hospital. And I was really worried about her. And at this point in my life, I don't have a lot of people. I have some people more than I do now. But at that point, I didn't have a lot of friends. I didn't have a lot of people I could talk to. And my mom was pretty much my world. I mean, I was helping her out with retirement. She's got diabetes. She's got mobility issues. So I've been sticking around the house helping her out, especially since my sister died back in 23. So the piece represents a person who is made out of a bubble. They're made out of bubble or glass, bubble or glass. Both work because they both represent the fragility of that person and how their whole world is crashing down while they're waiting on a response. So that's what that piece represents right there. That's why he's holding the phone and he's got those 3 little dots coming off that phone because he's just waiting on that response. And their whole world is just about a pop, essentially. So that's what that piece is about. It's about worrying about someone and having your whole world just an inch away from complete chaos. So that's that piece. The piece next to it came after my mom got out of the hospital. She was okay, but she wasn't all there. And she went on a lot of crazy trips that we didn't need to go on, to be honest with you. She kind of lost her mind. I don't know if it was when she retired or if it was the accident or maybe she's just getting old. But she really made a lot of crazy decisions after all that happened and was very whimsical about all of it, just absolutely loving the way that it was getting me to respond. Because I was just not used to somebody being that level of crazy. Whether it was planning out weddings and more or less for herself than the person that the wedding was supposed to be planned for, starting or getting scammed by a Romeo scammer on Facebook, going around buying thousands of dollars in gift cards, just believing everybody she met online was who they said they was, and not believing a single word whenever I would tell her that that's not Stephen King or that's not Tyler Perry or, just easily susceptible to scams, and spent a good amount of her retirement buying up crap she didn't need to be buying. We got boxes of furniture she bought for no reason, just all kinds of craziness. And the picture represents me fighting off a bunch of gummy bears in La La Land, because that's where I felt she was in La La Land. And she's just loving all this chaos she was creating. And I'm just trying my best to hold on to my sanity, because at this point I had to quit my job to take care of her. I still have my night job, but the job that was really helping me get back on my own feet pretty much got swept out from underneath me because of that accident. And I was trying my best to help her see that she was doing crazy shit. And it's kind of a fool's errand to do that when somebody's so far gone. And that eventually ended up with her getting a new car back in July, and then immediately driving all the way out to Tucson and then crashing it, which ended up causing me to have to go drive to get her by myself, because again, nobody bothered to help out, and blowing my transmission. So that's what that part represents. That piece right there. It's fighting off the La La Land. Now we got these two bottom ones here we got to get into. This first one here, I titled that one Anxiety, because that's what that represents, is anxiety. It's me in the throes of anxiety after having to have dealt with all this craziness that my mom had caused from her episodes, and crashing her second car and costing me over $7,000 in damages with my own car. Trying to worry about how I was going to pay the bills, how I was going to pay this extra $7,000 I had on top of that. And at the same time, I needed my car at that time for my night job because I was a trash collector. So I had to go to the apartments to collect the trash, and I needed that car. And I was out a week. I didn't have my day job on me, and I didn't have any money coming in besides that little amount that I got every week for picking up trash. So this is me in the throes of that. And also, she went to a hospital at this point, so I was alone. No money, no funds, nobody talking, nobody ever bothered to call. This was me essentially in the throes of anxiety. The face, they got three faces going on because they don't know how to feel exactly, whether they want to scream in rage, weep in agony, or just give up in defeat. The whole, everything around them feels like hell, like they're in the middle of hell, which is why you got all these eyes just staring off in the background, not doing anything, just staring. Jaws wide open, burning hellfire right behind them. It's that sitting there because you got nowhere to go, you feel trapped. So that's what that means, the anxiety of feeling like you're in a situation that you have no way to fix, and no one to talk to, nowhere to go, no way to make it right. So that's what that piece represents. This last one, again, these are all four. These all came together in the same emotional state of the events of last year. It's called Fuck It, We Ball. This is me essentially giving up on the idea that I could control anything in any of this situation, because I can't. She's still in a bed in the front room right now, and I still can't get a day job because I have to be here all the time to answer the doors, make her meals, wash her sheets, do the dishes, everything. And there's nothing I can do about that. So I just decided, fuck it, we ball. I'm going to try my best to do me, and the whole world is just falling apart, because it's not just all this stuff going on in the house that's a problem as well. You also got all this shit going on in the world on top of that. I mean, let's be honest, man. This has been an absolute shit fucking year, or last year especially, for when it came to politics in this country. The world's falling apart, and we're just riding it out in a burning trash can with a bottle of wine in one hand and a weed pen in the other. Unfortunately, I can't really afford weed pens anymore, and they were helping me with the anxiety a bit, but I lost my medical license, and I lost my medical card, and I can't really afford to get that shit fucking renewed either. So that's just, it's a small frustration, but it's a frustration all the same. I have to essentially raw dog all these emotions. I think I'm better off for that, having to raw dog these emotions, by the way. As much as it would be easy for me to go down and get a bottle of wine or drink some of this bourbon I got over here, because I didn't quit drinking. I just cut back on my drinking. I don't want to, because I would rather feel the brunt of those emotions and learn to overcome them than wash them away and drown them down with alcohol, weed, and all that other shit. Because that's an important part of life, is learning how to handle yourself when you've got nothing else to handle with, So that's what that piece is about, is fuck it, we balls. Giving up, just trying our best. Riding out the world falling apart around us. On to our next one. I think this is going to be the last piece we talk about in this video. We got boxes of paintings we could go into discussing. I think 6 is a good number to leave it off at. This piece right here, huh. This represents what the country's about right now. I painted this the day after the election of 24, and every year it gets more and more true. Just look at the damn thing, okay? What you got here is a representation of the culture that we have in this country right now, where it's essentially the "fuck you, I got mine" culture, and people gleefully just cheer it on every day. That whole situation with Renee Good being called a domestic terrorist when she just got done dropping her kids off at school, that's a prime example of it. You got people saying, "Well, she should have complied. Oh, she got pronouns in her bio," cheering it on. Well, a mother of 3 gone because she turned her car as slow pace out of the way of somebody. That's not justifiable, but people cheer that shit on, and that's what this piece represents: is that type of personality, that "fuck you, I got mine" personality. It's inspired by all the times I'd be online and I'd see those stupid fucking "I just want to grill" memes pop up whenever somebody's talking about an injustice in our society, because we do live in a society, and it's that nonchalant "I don't care because it ain't at my doorstep" mentality. That's what that piece is about right there. You'll notice the sky is completely covered in toxic clouds. The sun is dying. There's nobody in the streets. It says 2025 on those 2 doors right there. That's a hint at Project 2025, which, even though he claims he never knew about it when he was running for office, he sure as hell pretty much fulfilled most of it now, didn't he? Mm-hmm. You got bars on the windows, trying to just keep the person inside. The houses are more like a prison than they are a home. Meanwhile, you got all these cheerful faces with shark teeth and demon eyes, just having themselves a nice little barbecue. They got red pills in their glasses. They're cooking hot dogs on the grill, but they're handing hamburgers. That's the representation of they're saying one thing and doing another thing. And then meanwhile, all across the ground there, that green grass is blood red, soaked in blood, as are their hands, because their vote, their choice, cost a lot of people their lives, broke up a lot of families, fucked over a lot of people, took away a lot of rights from other people. You got those bones on the ground because that's how society's built. It's built on the bones and blood of the less fortunate. This is the suburban lifestyle right here, the good old American conservative mentality. It reminds me of when my sister died in 23, and I lost my job not even a week after, and seeing a post about how not everybody gets into heaven from somebody I worked with. That type of mentality. And yeah, they voted for Trump too. I know they did. It's also one of the reasons I'm glad I don't work at Total Wine anymore, because you see those types of people all the time, every day. Not just the people that shop there, but also in management. And with all the things going on, with the countries being invaded, resources being stolen, threatening other countries, including NATO allies, seeing everyday fucking Americans in the goddamn streets getting killed, that blood's on y'all's hands too, because you voted for that shit in. Whether you admit that you did or didn't, a lot of those folks that say, "Oh, I didn't vote for this," they say they do behind closed doors. They cheer it on just as much, saying how you should have complied. Well, you shouldn't have been so uppity. You deserved it because you had pronouns in your bio and a lesbian wife. Just like they did for George Floyd. Oh, well, he deserved it because what? Because what? He didn't deserve that. Breonna Taylor didn't deserve what happened to her, and Renee Good didn't deserve what happened to her. But these people, they'll find an excuse. And it's never going to end with that either. You can't really reason with these types of folks, because they revel in that maliciousness, because it ain't happening to them. It's happening to people they don't like. That's what that represents right there. It's that type of voting class, that person who welcome fascism in with open arms because it's carrying a cross and an American flag. while it represents nothing to do with Christianity at all. In fact, they'd probably be there in line cheering at the crucifixion, saying he should have complied with the Romans. That's what this represents. It's that hateful, demonic, self-centered, apathetic, cold-blooded killer mentality that a lot of these folks have. So that's what that piece represents right there. And yeah, it's scary. It's scary times. It's going to get a lot scarier too. Like I said in my last video, I ain't playing shit because I knew 2026 wasn't going to be a good year, and it's already proven it ain't. There's a lot of people that are finally starting to wake up to it, and that's good to see. That's great to see. I'm not much of a person to go to protest myself because, well, I got a mom I got to take care of. I got that as a priority, but I do support y'all doing it. I really do, because this is ridiculous. Meanwhile, these people will just cheer that shit on until there's nobody left, except them. Until it happens to them too, because that's just the way it works. When you live in a society of might versus right, everybody's on the chopping block, even them. It's called being a useful idiot. Unless you're one of his little island buddies that gets to hang out in that bunker that he's building underneath that quote unquote ballroom, which, by the way, why the fuck does he need a ballroom? He stands in place when he dances. Why does he need so much square footage? Just saying, everybody's on that chopping block, even them. And they ushered it in with open arms and smiles on their faces because they're scared of pronouns or Kamala Harris had a crazy laugh. Simple, dumb, populist choices rather than sitting there to think about what the fuck am I actually picking on here. You know how many of these idiots thought tariffs were going to be a good thing? We're literally going into other countries to steal their resources because of how bad our economy is because of those tariffs. But we're excusing it as drugs. Fentanyl. I don't see him talking about anything to do with fentanyl right now. If anything, he's just jizzing himself over how much oil he's getting. So that's what this piece represents. It's that fuck you, I got mine mentality. While everybody else suffers, they want to have themselves a little party. I think we're going to end it up on that. Like I said, this is going to be a depressing episode. I told you it was going to be, because a lot of these pieces are kind of thought-provoking. They're existential. They fit what I'm thinking and feeling at the time. We will do some cheery ones because not all of the pieces I do are depressing and provocative like that. But I just wanted to go ahead and start off strong. So there we go. Just let you guys know what we're going to be getting into when we talk about our art. If you like this video, you know what to do. If you want to help out, because I certainly could use any penny I can get, we got a Venmo link right down yonder. I ain't gonna press it. Y'all know. If you want to help, great. If you don't, I understand too. We also got an Etsy shop. Some of these pieces have prints. Two of the ones that I showed earlier do for sure. I just don't have the funds to really afford to get more prints made right now. And if anybody's interested in buying any of the original ones, let me know. In the meantime, this has been Candy Dandy. Thank you for your time. And I hope you have a good one.